Good morning, everybody. Welcome to 2024, and welcome to our inaugural Committee of the Whole, which is an experiment for 1 year trial. We'll call the meeting to order and ask any committee member to close pecuniary interest now or any time during the meeting. Councillor Loosely, please.
Yes, thank you, Warden Myriad. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest on 5A and B of the information reports, 3E Emergency Services Committee, and number 12, the in-camera meeting QP Local 2557, due to the fact that my son works part-time for the EMS.
Okay, thank you. So item number 3, even though I'm sitting here, I am not your chair at this point, and we look for elections, nominations, I should say, first for a chair and then vice chair. Councillor Case.
Yes, Warden Myriad, I would nominate you to chair the Committee of the Whole, if I would have a seconder, sir.
Oh. Okay, so Councillor Boucher seconds it. Is there any other nominations?
If it pleases the chair, I nominate Brian White for chair.
Okay.
Thank you.
Deputy Warden, do you accept the nomination?
Do you want to do it?
Well, I guess at this point,
it's really sort of informal how you wish to address it. You can have the vote first on that nomination. And, knowing that there's another nominee, folks will then move forward on that basis.
okay, so I guess it's just different how we're doing this, but I guess I will ask for a vote on the first nomination. Yeah, all those in favor of Councillor Case's motion? Opposed? So I guess that's carried. Thank you. Nominations for vice chair. Councillor Agar.
I'd like to nominate Gary Atkinson.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Boucher. All those in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried as well. And item B, section B, audit committee. So, yeah, I'm going to have Mr. Tiefel explain how we do this with keeping the AM and PM committee names intact, as if you want to put it that way. Please, Mr. Tiefel.
Yes, thank you, Warden Merritt. The audit committee was formerly 4 members from Committee AM, plus, of course, the warden for a 1-year term. This year, we had, on the audit committee, we had, of course, Warden Marriott, Councillor Atkinson, Councillor Cook, Councillor Loosely, Councillor Miller. Of course, this is your inaugural meeting with the Committee of the Whole. If you were to follow sort of past practice and past rotations, it would be to appoint 4 members of Committee AM, or who would be on Committee AM. And we would suggest to follow that pattern in the event that the Committee of the Whole trial expires, is not renewed for the following year, at which point in time then we just resume in our Committee AM, Committee PM rotations, subject to further instructions from Council. So if you were to follow that rotation, i.e. appoint 4 members from Committee AM to the Audit Committee, in this year, year 2 of your term, the Committee AM membership would have been Councillor Loosely, Councillor Hand, Councillor Cook, Councillor Atkinson, Councillor Agar, Councillor Broad, Councillor Bradley, and Deputy Warden White.
So we would look for nominations from that group for audit committee. Councillor Loosely, please.
Yeah, thank you, Warden Merritt. I would move that those individuals sit on the audit committee.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Tiefel.
It would be 4 of those 8 members, and the new members to Committee AM this year would have been Councillor Loosely, Councillor Hand, Councillor Cook, and Councillor Atkinson. with the former members being Councillor Agar, Rod, and Councillor Bradley and Councillor White. So it's a 4-member appointment. So any 4 of the 8 would be appointed to the Committee AM. So which 4 of the 8 is really the question.
It's a little confusing, but
I was just going to say maybe the same 4. Sit on that again.
okay. That's a motion?
I would move that.
Or are you going to move it? Okay, so do you have a seconder for that? Councillor Ferguson. Is there any, I guess we just vote on that. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. So moving on to C, County of Lambton Agricultural Advisory Committee. Councillor Case, please.
I'd nominate Alan Broad to continue in that role.
Okay. And Councillor Atkinson seconds it. All in favor? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And D, Woodland Hearings Board. Yeah, please, Mr. Tiefel, if you want to explain that one, case for the new ones.
Correct. So the Woodlands Hearing Board, there are 3 members, 2 of which are ex officio, and the 2 ex officio are where's my sheet? The warden and deputy warden, of course, and formerly the chair of Committee AM. So, and that was Ian Veen, that was the chair of Committee AM. So if you were to move forward again with sort of keeping rotations, it would be one of the members from Committee AM that you would nominate if you wish to go down that path.
Councillor Hand.
I wish to nominate Dave Ferguson, but I'm not sure if he's AM or PM. Or doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor McRoberts seconds that. Okay, all in favor of that? Opposed, if any? That's carried. And E, Emergency Services Committee. Maybe you want to explain this one too, please, Mr. Tifo? I think there's a few that are confused on this one.
Yes, I'll explain it to the best of my abilities, given that this is a bit of a historical committee that has historically been the Committee AM, de facto has been the Emergency Services Committee, together with the Provincial Fire Coordinator. That committee has been fairly dormant, inactive for a number of years. My understanding, based on the research that I've done, is that perhaps the last time it was active was through the fire radio discussions. It's a committee that allows the current outside appointees, i.e. the Provincial Fire Coordinator, to access council on issues that may arise through Committee AM and participate as a committee member there. This body has appointed Committee AM in the past as the de facto Emergency Services Committee from historically, I should say, for a number of years.
Hopefully that's clear. Is there any nominations for that? Councillor Case.
I haven't spoke to anybody, but I would nominate Bev Hand to be on that committee if she wished to accept.
Okay. So we take 8 names. Yeah. Councillor Atkinson.
Thank you. I would nominate Councillor Agar.
Okay. Further nominations? Councillor Case.
I would nominate the Deputy Mayor of Lambton Shores. I would nominate Dan Sagen.
Okay. 5 more, if we can. Councillor Hand. Councillor McRoberts. That's 4. Councillor Case.
Just some clarification. Does the warden and deputy warden automatically sit on this committee?
No, this is one that we don't.
Okay, I would nominate Brian White if he was willing to sit on that committee.
Okay. And 3 more.
I might as well keep going. I would nominate you, warden, if you'd sit on that committee.
Okay. Down to 2 left. Councillor Agar. Say. Deputy Warden White.
I'll nominate Councillor Hand.
Oh.
Did you already go on there? Oh, all right. Okay, yeah, maybe if we.
So the 6 nominations we currently have is Councillor Hand, Councillor Agar, Councillor Sageman, Councillor McRoberts, Deputy Warden White, Warden Marriott, and we still have 2 remaining.
Deputy Warden White.
All right, well then, Councillor Case.
We're getting closer. One more. Councillor Atkinson.
Nominate Councillor Miller.
Okay. Not seeing any disagreement, so we have 8. All in favor of those 8? Opposed, if any? That's great, thank you. And County of Lambton Accessibility Advisory Committee. I believe Councillor Cook was on there the last time. Councillor Case.
I'll nominate Councillor Cook once again.
Okay, Councillor Cook, you're good with that? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Moves us into number 4, Infrastructure and Development Services Division. We have 1 information report there. Motion to receive and file of Councillor Bean and Councillor Hand. Sorry?
I apologize, can I back up for a minute?
Sure.
I'm on the Adult Advisory Committee representing Lambton County. I would like to stay on it, but it didn't appear on the list through the county homes.
Yeah, say that again, Councillor Hand, the name of it?
The Adult Advisory Committee, it's the
Adult.
Alzheimer's group, the day program.
That's a 2-year appointment.
Oh,
You're already there.
thank you.
So we had a motion for the information report. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Miller, seconds. All in favor? Receiving that? It's carried. And item B, reports requiring a motion. We have a report dated January the 17th regarding County of Lambton Agricultural Advisory Committee Revitalization. Councillor Ferguson.
If I may speak to this first. In principle, I am for this, but I was actually on that committee back in 2016 through the other commodity boards. I'd like to, after talking to some other people in the room, after the agricultural base, this is an unwieldy council, the way it is. I'm wondering, could we pare down the amount of people on it, down to maybe a 9 or 10 rather than the 15? Some of the boards have changed over the years, may not be as relevant. So I'm wondering, how would we move forward if we're look to do that? Could I have volunteers from council to sit down for a few minutes sometime to take that from a 15 down to a 9 or 10 for the requirements to be on that board? And what's the thoughts of the others in the room with that one?
So, Mr. Cole, did you care to comment on that, how we would proceed? Or should we have a subcommittee maybe struck to discuss this? Or I'm looking for direction here, if you don't mind. Or do you have an opinion at all?
Mr. Chair, through you to Councillor Ferguson, I think reforming that committee, it's at the council's will. So if you'd like to assemble a subcommittee of council to look at the structure and determine how that would look moving forward, we would get together the facilitator and work with that group to formulate something, bring it back to the agricultural communities that were involved, and ask for that representation.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Ferguson.
Yeah, and just with that, in 2016 was the last meeting, and at that time, and I was there at the meeting, they kind of did not respect what their mandate was. And after that, it was kind of shut down. I do believe we need to have this committee there. We are one of the largest businesses in Lambton County, the largest in Ontario. But to bring in 9 or 10 people at times for some nice, quiet discussion with staff to see what we're seeing for the future, whether there's infrastructure, roads, water, internet in the county. I think this is an important committee to have. So I'm not looking to shut it down at all, but I think it should be fine-tuned a little bit to be more productive, is what I'm kind of looking for.
Okay.
And not to be quite as unwieldy.
How many would you suggest for a committee?
I would suggest 9 or 10. You're still going to
No, I mean for the subcommittee.
make it 4, and it could maybe ask for, and I'm going to look for agricultural background who are familiar with the boards. I'm on about 4 of those boards that are listed out of the 15 myself when you go through it through the farm community. So perhaps myself, Al Broad, somebody else with some other agricultural background that knows some of the boards could volunteer. We can meet afterwards sometime. I do realize there's a health board meeting after, or even to get together on a Zoom call and discuss how to pare that down a bit to be relevant, but still cover all the commodities in Lambton County and the other communities.
I'm going to suggest a committee of 4, so would Councillor Broad be interested as well? Okay, is there any other volunteers? Is it okay for me to say 4 people? So 2 more. Councillor Atkinson, are you interested? Okay. Anybody else? Councillor Cook? Good, there's 4. All in favor of that? That's carried, thank you. And the second report dated January 17th regarding updates to emergency response plan and program bylaws. Councillor Case.
Excuse me, Mr. Warden, can I back it up a little bit? I wondered, I know it's a committee of 4, would it be that wrong to be a committee of 5 and have you included on this? You also are a farmer, you're also the warden of the county. I know you've been involved with this organization in the past. So if council would allow, I would ask to make an amendment to that motion to add your name to it and have you part of that as well. So I will make that motion, sir.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Case. Seconded by Councillor Ferguson. All in favor of that? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Thank you. Councillor Ferguson.
So we didn't deal with this. Should this be tabled, this first one? That should be a tabling motion to table that because we did not vote yea or nay on that.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. We'll suggest to table it till April. Okay, moved by Councillor Ferguson to table till April. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Cook. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So back to item B, the report on the emergency response plan and program bylaws. How would you like to deal with this report? And do we have Jay or Mr. Van Klinking on? Oh, he's online. If anybody has questions for the report, he's available. Yeah, moved by Councillor Bean and Councillor Ferguson, you second that? Okay. All in favor of that? Opposed, if any? That's carried. Any other business under infrastructure and development? Seeing none, moving on to number 5, Public Health Services Division, Emergency Medical Services Department. We have 2 information reports. Look for a motion to receive and file. Councillor Miller and Councillor Sageman seconds. All in favor? It's carried. Other business. Mr. Taylor, do you have other business?
Yes, thank you, Warden Marriott. I just want to take this opportunity to introduce our new deputy manager for EMS, Lynn McCurry. Lynn has worked as a part-time operations supervisor for our service since 2020, and she's also held progressive leadership positions in the London Middlesex paramedic services, most recently as their commander of operations. Lynn's an advanced care paramedic. She's completing her master's degree in business administration at the University of Western, and she brings a wealth of experience to us with over 33 years spanning in her career, including working with the OPP comms and Sarnia Dispatch and Wallaceburg Dispatch. So she's also been an auxiliary OPP constable and a professor with Lambton College. So we're excited to have Lynn join us in this capacity, and I would ask you to join me in welcoming her. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Taylor, and welcome, Lynn. Moving on to number 6, Cultural Services Division. We have 2 correspondence to receive and file. Do we have a motion for that? Councillor Bushy moves. Councillor Cook seconds. All in favor? That's carried. And information reports, there's 3 of those. Do we have a motion to receive and file those? Councillor Hand moves. Councillor Sageman seconds. All in favor? That's carried. And C, reports requiring a motion. The first one is report dated January 17th regarding consolidation of Sombre and Port Lambton libraries. Moved by Deputy Warden White, seconded by Councillor Veen. All in favor? That's carried. Second report dated January 17th regarding Judith and Norman Alex Art Gallery hours of operation. Councillor Atkinson moves, second by Councillor McRoberts. All in favor? That's carried. And the third one, report dated January 17th regarding museums and archives collections management, October and November 2023. Councillor Broad moves, seconded by Councillor Loosely. All in Councillor Ferguson, you have a question?
This is to Mr. Meyer. When I look through the list there, I see that there's some items that were declined. And I saw some items there that I think Warden Merritt and Councillor Casey would be quite interested in if we could talk to Mr. Carlton. That was the 5 chairs from the Columbia Hotel. Could they contact you after to get hold of those chairs? Their misspent youth is probably in those chairs.
I don't know how to respond to that, but no. Okay. Almost lost my spot. So we'll move to other business under any other business. Councillor Case?
Actually, Mr. Warden, I'll wait till later on.
Okay.
For the other business. Thank you.
Moving to number 7, Long-Term Care Division. We have an information report dated January 17th regarding Adult Day Program Enhanced Funding. A motion to receive and file. Councillor Miller. Councillor Hand seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Is there any other business under long-term care? No, nothing from Ms. Joris. Okay. Moving on to number 8, Corporate Services Division. So we have some correspondence to receive and file there. Councillor Cook, Councillor Ferguson, all in favor? It's carried. And reports requiring a motion. The first one is a report dated January 17th regarding Deputy Clerk appointment. Councillor Broad moves, seconded by Councillor Loosely. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. And the second one, report dated January 17th regarding 2024 services and fees schedule. Councillor Sageman moves, seconded by Councillor McRoberts. All in favor? That's carried. Any other business? Seeing none, move on to number 10, Social Services Division. We have some correspondence there to receive and file as well. Councillor Bushy moves, seconded by Councillor Atkinson. All in favor? That's carried. And we have some information reports. Do you want to move these as a whole? Does anybody want to pull any of these? If not, we'll look for a motion to receive and file all those. Councillor Broad moves and Counselor Ferguson seconds. All in favor? That's carried. Other business. Counselor Case.
Yes, Mr. Warden, thank you. Just a question. Back about probably 7-8 months ago, we asked both of our MPPs to appear before us here at County Council. Now, one MPP has obviously resigned his position, and I'll be very honest with you, being one of the municipalities without an MPP right now is very, very frustrating since we're going through an EA process for an expanded landfill. But saying that, I wondered if we have ever heard anything back from Mr. Bailey's office. Mr. Bailey has been very helpful to us, even though we're not in his writing, so I do want to say, first off, I appreciate that. But the second piece of that question, the main question, I guess, is, have we ever heard back from Mr. Bailey's office to have him come and appear before us here at Lambton County? This is getting to be quite some time that we made that request. I'm just looking for an update.
Yeah, we've been in constant contact. I believe they were both, him and Mr. McNaughton were planning on coming, and then, as you say, Mr. McNaughton left. But do you have anything later, Mr. Tifo?
Yes, thank you, Warden Merritt, and thank you for the question. Was anticipating the question, in fact. We've made those requests routinely since Council asked for those appearances. We continue to follow up on those requests. We did have traction back in the summer in July with Minister McNaughton prior to his resignation, and unfortunately that traction was lost. We will continue to make the requests. We're at Roma, as many of you know, come Monday, Tuesday, and we're meeting with a number of individuals, and we will certainly invite them again to this chamber.
Councillor Case.
Well, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Warden, that we send a second letter to MPP Bailey asking him to make his presence here at the county.
Okay.
County of Lambton. So maybe a secondary letter, once again requesting him to join us here in chambers for a council meeting for a question and answer session.
Okay, I see Councillor Bradley seconds that. You'd like to comment too?
Yeah, do we need to send a gift basket with it or something like that? Because this is actually, what, 4 years, 3 years? Yeah. And I just want to make, when we put this forward, it was not to be confrontational. It was to try to understand what was happening with some of the issues. So let's just hope that we'll get this in the next 30 days.
Yeah, and just to note, we had followed up several times after that initial request, and we were close to having a meeting or having him come, but we will send another, or I'll call for a vote on that motion before I say that. All in favor of this? Opposed, if any? That's carried, so we'll send that out. Councillor Loosely.
Thank you, Warden Murray. Just wanted to remind county councillors that Mr. Bailey is speaking tomorrow morning on the state of the province at the Chamber of Commerce for those that may be interested in talking to him or seeing him. And I think it's at the Holiday Inn or the Sun Life or whatever it is, but he'll be there tomorrow morning for anyone interested at 8 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you for that. So I believe we're at CAO number 11. We have a report dated January 17th regarding May 2024 Committee of the Whole meeting. Councillor Broad, you moved that. Second by Councillor Sageman. All in favor? That's carried. Any other business? Seeing none, it moves us to item number 12, in camera. So a recommendation that we declare the committee go in camera to discuss the following: receive a report and provide instructions regarding labor relations, specifically regarding collective bargaining with QP Local 2557. All in favor of that? That's carried. I should have asked. just one last motion, and that is adjournment. Deputy Warden White and Councillor Bean, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you.